If you don't drink alcohol, are you truly Scottish? Many of us don't. Let's talk about it.
Alright, troops.
I'm going to be upfront. Alcohol is a very prominent subject and sensitive subject for me. There will be some personal issues that might come out during this. If you don't want to hear them, I would advise that you switch off because it might be uncomfortable. But it's something that has bothered me for decades now, and I really think I need to talk about it. Everybody knows what alcohol is. It's the one recreational drug that if you don't do it, people think there's something wrong with you. Go to a pub, but you're having a Diet Coke. What's the matter with you? Why are you no drinking? Order an alcohol-free lager. What's the matter with you, Big Jesse? Have a real drink. I would always have a ready-built excuse anytime someone asked me why I wasn't drinking. I don't have the money to drink tonight. Oh, I've got a busy day tomorrow. Oh, I'm up early rehearsing for a show. And the main one, especially after I got my license, sorry mate, got the car. All excuses. Every last one of them. Because I never felt comfortable saying I don't want to drink. I do have a lot of issues with alcohol. I was what was known as a binge drinker back in the day. And one weekend I would cram in about a week's worth of drinking, usually over the Friday to Saturday, die of a massive hangover on the Sunday, and back to work or college on the Monday. This could be defined as a functioning alcoholic. Maybe I was, but I always identify myself as a binge drinker more than anything. Alcohol is so ingrained in our culture that it is seen as wrong to not take a drink. And it's also seen as wrong if you don't drink when you're underage. I've always said that I've came from a working class background and I am really proud of it. But one thing I really didn't like was the drinking culture involved. A lot of people would talk about alcohol and say, you know, when I had my first drink? 13. Oh, that's nothing. I had my first drink when I was 10. What about you, Andy? When did you have your first drink? When I was 6. Sadly, that's not a lie. But I think there was a reason behind it. My dad's dad, my granddad, was a bit of a character. When I was 6, I saw my granddad having a pint of Tennent's Lager, and I asked him, Granddad, what's that? And he said, you're going to find out, son. I had my first sip of Tennent's Lager, 6 years old, and it was boufing. For international audiences, that means it was disgusting. He asked me if I liked it. Of course, I said no. And then he said, okay, let's try you with a whiskey. Same result. And that put me off alcohol for a very long time, which is why I think there was method to the madness. Don't get me wrong, I had the alcoholic soft drinks, as we used to call them. Well, we had a more offensive terminology for them, but I don't like using that now. They were drinks like Smirnoff Ice, Red Square, kind of alco pops. Stuff that tasted nice but gave you a little bit of a buzz. Hooch was the main one when I was growing up. People genuinely thought they were soft drinks. I'd have the odd one of those every now and then, but I didn't really get back into alcohol until 6 months before my 18th birthday. It was at a family event, and my brother asked me, how do you know like beer? Because I don't like the taste of it. It's because you're drinking it, Rang. Let me show you how to drink it. This sounds daft, but surprisingly, my brother actually knew what he was talking about. He showed me how to drink beer, quote unquote, the right way, and it was much more palatable. And from then on, every weekend until I was in my mid to late 20s revolved around me getting drunk. A lot. Not surprising to say that alcohol has a negative impact on your mental health. In my case, it always came with a bit of an extra edge. You could be over your hangover in 48 to 72 hours, but my mental instability lasted a lot longer than that. This is before I was on meds and I didn't really have a clue about managing my mental health in a positive way. There'd be maybe 2 to 3 months where I would be in like constant fits of depression and I couldn't figure out what it was until I got sober. I always say that I flirted with sobriety for a long time. I could go a couple of months without drinking, and then one day the pressure would get to me and I would snap. This could be peer pressure, this could be family pressure, it could be pressures of life, and my brain would just say, you want to see me drunk? Let's go for it and prepare for the chaos. Total self-destruct. And then you wake up the next day with the killer hangover and the insane amounts of regret. Oh no, what did I do last night? Oh no, who did I do last night? Joking, I wasn't like that. But those were the thoughts that would frequently go through your head. Anybody ever done a drunk dial? Anybody ever done a drunk text? I bet you have, because I've done it. It's a horrible feeling, isn't it? And I really hated what I was like when I was drunk because it's the lack of control. I really need to be in control of my mental faculties because I'm so unstable when it comes to mental health. It's something that I have to fight daily, as a lot of people do. And adding anything into the mix like alcohol is not wise. Alcohol has led to quite a few of my suicide attempts because you just think that's the best way you can go out. The main suicide attempt, as I call it, the one that got me hospitalized, was a result of me drinking way too much alcohol and trying to take a lot of pills as well. I didn't realize the permanent damage that I could have done to my body if I survived. I was just hoping to get out. But I didn't. I had to get sent to hospital to make sure I hadn't done any permanent damage. Turns out I hadn't, and it was a lucky escape. So when did I get sober? Officially, the day after my wedding. I always say the wedding was the best day of my life, and it was, along with the boys being born. And one of the reasons was because I could finally say goodbye to alcohol and stick with it. I had a great time on my wedding. I had quite a few drinks. Didn't have a hangover the previous day because I was still high on adrenaline. And I just thought, this is a nice way to say goodbye to alcohol. And I have. 11th of May 2016 until present day recording in October 2022, I have been free from alcohol. And in all honesty, I feel so much better for it. It's good to finally have that bit of control back in my life. It's good to have that positive feeling about myself for most of the time. And in a weird way, it's really good not having alcohol as my crutch excuse anymore. Have you ever used the excuse, oh, I was drunk, I can't even remember what I did, I'm so sorry? I know you have, because I have. I don't have that fake defense anymore. I can be held accountable for my own actions and learn and grow from my mistakes. And I'm not saying that anybody who still drinks alcohol needs a crutch or uses it as a coping strategy. That is not the case. Some people can go out, have a couple of drinks, and that's them for the night and wake up the next morning and feel all right. And I really, really envy those people. But there are some people that it's an addiction, you can't shake it, and the only way to stop is to give it up completely. I kind of fall into the middle ground. I don't want to go back on alcohol because I lose control, but I do still love the taste of a beer. So I get the alcohol free ones or the alcohol free ciders, specifically making sure that it is alcohol free, 0.0%. No alcohol, no 0.05s or 0.10s, no alcohol, period. And I still get people saying things like, what's the point in having that? It's not a real drink. It's not about me. It is to an extent, but it's also about the people that I hang out with. I'm not going to condemn them or judge them for drinking just because I don't drink. They want to drink. I'm cool with it. I love watching the carnage. But people don't feel comfortable drinking around someone that doesn't drink. They feel like they're shoving it in your face or they're making you feel uncomfortable or making you feel bad. And I really do appreciate people taking that time to be considerate of my feelings. But I'm also considerate of theirs. People sometimes have really rough weeks and need a drink to relax. They don't go overboard, they just need a glass of wine or a pint of lager or bottle of cider. But if it's just me and a friend or me and like my wife, for example, my wife doesn't feel comfortable drinking when I'm not. So I get her a cider and I get myself an alcohol free cider. It's a psychological thing. You probably guessed throughout this video, the thing that really annoys me most about alcohol is not the alcohol itself, but the judgment that you get from other people who are on alcohol. Like I said at the start, everybody thinks that if you're not drinking alcohol, then there's something wrong with you. And in my case, there is. I can't control it. It controls me, and I do not want to be in that position again. It's also one of the reasons why I don't like to go to pubs anymore. You go to a pub and people assume that you're going to get drunk and get alcohol. And that plays on my anxiety. It makes me feel bad. So I avoid pubs now. I'm way too busy now with all the good stuff that's going on to be bothered about a drink. And that is the final reason why I don't drink alcohol. I'm too self destructive. I could ruin any good thing going by having one sip of alcohol. And in particular, it could ruin my media career. I'm only at the start of it. but you still have to be very, very careful with your image. I don't want people looking at me in the media thinking, oh, there's Andy, he's that alky out in a bender again. I don't want that image of me spread around the world or even spread around my hometown. So if it's one less thing for me to worry about, I'm all for it. So that's my thoughts on alcohol. A longer video than normal, and one that you probably were not expecting a lot of personal details from, but it was why I gave you the warning at the start. The most ironic part is I haven't even scratched the surface of my issues with alcohol, and I don't want to because I'm not comfortable talking about it at this point in time. Maybe someday, just not right now. And I'll round off by once again reiterating that if you enjoy a drink, there is no judgment here. I do not like to judge because I am no saint and I never will be. So enjoy a drink. Just don't pressure me into doing it. Until next time, take care, stay safe. Bye bye.